I accidentally found out my ex-husband who divorced me 6 years ago has become king, while I had already married someone else and had a child. I remembered saying, even if every man on earth died, I would never look back at him. Now he is king. I knew he would take revenge on me. Soon my current in-laws learned my ex had become the new king. They feared the king would blame the family because of me, so they immediately handed me divorce papers, telling me to leave quickly. I said I would go tomorrow morning. But before I finished speaking, my mother-in-law said the car was already ready. I had to leave tonight. I felt reluctant, but I did not want to drag my current husband down, so I left overnight with my daughter. When my husband found out, he immediately chased after me, because after these years together, he had truly fallen in love with me. My mother-in-law saw her son bring back the king's ex-wife again. She was angry but helpless, because the king had ordered the whole family back to the capital to take charge of building the new queen's palace. They could no longer avoid it. I guessed the king was taking revenge for what happened 6 years ago. Back then, before he became king, we were deeply in love, but later I found out he had a close relationship with my best friend. Even if he explained he had his reasons, betrayal was still betrayal. I was furious. I decided to leave him and never see him again. He did not know I was already pregnant with his child. Later, my father and stepmother forced me to marry my dead sister's husband. Luckily, my husband only thought of my sister. He accepted the child in my belly, and for all these years we were never truly husband and wife. 6 years later, the old king died, and my ex inherited the throne. The first thing he did as king was to deliberately transfer my whole family to the royal city to take revenge. Once he heard my husband call my name, he grew jealous. To outsiders, it looked like I must regret leaving him, since he was now powerful. But in truth, I did not regret at all. We had already cut ties, and I did not want any more contact with him. But fate is strange. My aunt is now the Empress Dowager, yet the new king is not her biological son. Even the current queen is only friendly on the surface and has other intentions. To restore our family's power, the Empress Dowager wants me to bear the king a child, since I was once his wife. Later I was summoned to the palace. The first thing the Empress Dowager asked was if I regretted. I answered directly that I did not. After chatting a while, she noticed my looks were as beautiful as before, even more feminine than before. At that moment, the queen arrived with her daughter, pretending to visit the Empress Dowager, but in reality flaunting herself in front of me. The queen deliberately talked about children, to hide that my daughter was the king's child. I said she was a year younger. I did not want to speak more with the queen, so I excused myself, saying I felt unwell and asked to go home, and the Empress Dowager dismissed everyone. After everyone left, a servant whispered that I clearly did not want to enter the palace, and would be of little help to the family, but the Empress Dowager still believed in me. On my way out of the palace, I met my ex-husband again. After 6 years, the former couple stood face to face with totally different identities. The servants recognized me, knew I was the king's ex-wife, and remembered how I had once injured the king's hand. They wanted to punish me on his behalf, and even tried to gain favor by doing so. But they did not know the king still had feelings for me, and they would pay for their actions.